Remember, unlike judo, we don't start off with good grip, not good grip. That's wonderful when it doesn't happen. So, and in fact, like, shuai jiao comes from Mongolian wrestling, and depending on whether it's outer Mongolia or inner Mongolia, they have different kinds of, I want to say dances, but I don't know if that's the correct term. But it's like, it's both ritual, you know, like the book that I wrote was combat, ritual, you know, and recreation. It's ritualistic, but it's also like approaching. In other words, when we start a match, it's like get a grip. It's disconnected, which is also good because that's more like a real fight starts off. You know, just like we always joke, jiu-jitsu people will fight doesn't start on the ground on our knees. You know, judo people, you know, it doesn't start with the grip. You have to get a grip first. So, you know, like if he's reaching for me, remember we have those kind of, you know, we did those kind of separating hand stuff last time, remember? So, and we've done it, you know. But, so as he comes, I have these opportunities. One of the most basic things you have is T, which is sweeping, right? But generally speaking, in shuai jiao, you have what looks very much like traditional Chinese martial arts, sweeping like peck, like chopping. And then you have the sweeps that are more like judo sweeps with the edge of the foot. We're going to do both. But let's start off first with the more Chinese ones because those can kind of be done even before I get grip or even as he's reaching. Just sweep. Okay, I'm trying to be nice. That's the right. So as he reaches, what I'm doing here is what we call like a 7-star foot with the toes turned in, not up, on either side. Right, and what I'm doing is I'm going to hook the back of his ankle, and my heel is scraping the ground. I talked about, you know, like we used to rent dance studio spaces when we were doing kung fu, and we used to wear shoes. A lot of times the kung fu shoes had these kind of black tread bottoms. I'm sure you've had them. And what would happen was after we did like a line of this stuff, we'd leave like zigzags of this black, which, you know, the dance studio places did not love, but in other words, I don't want to do this. I'm not kicking. I am sweeping. Right? So as he reaches for me, sweep. Right? As he's reaching for me, sweep. And again, you can see that I can go against the outside of the foot. I go against the inside of the foot. Generally speaking, turn out a little bit. Right? Turn out a little bit. Sweep. You know, turn out a little bit. Sweep. And, you know, if I get a grip, that's great. You know, if I get a grip, that's great. If I get a grip, you know, whatever I get, it doesn't matter. But let's work on just sweeping like this. Just keeping toes. Yeah. Is that clear enough? Next, if we have grips, right? Grabbing. I'm not done. Right? So then we have more like our judo kind of throws. Right? And that means more like with the edge of the foot. But I can do on this side, I can do this side. Can you see what I'm doing? This is outside in, this is inside out. I can also pull him forward and block this way. And this is like jiao, which I'm going to probably do later when we do some striking stuff. But let's look really simple. If we're both on the balls of our feet, it's very hard to sweep because he's light on his feet and I go like that and he moves away. Or even if he catches my foot, for example, I just pick it up, right? So, remember we talked about loading. I talked a lot about that last time we were here, right? So, one of the easiest way to load it is just kind of walk him because he has to sort of walk forward 1, 2. Okay, so 1, 2, and then I'm going to take my rear leg and go to the outside. Right? If I just did that down, right? You know, as you feel it, right, you probably move. And again, if I touched you a little bit, you could just sort of be light on your feet and pick up, right? In other words, if you go to do that to me, just go to do it, right? If we're just here, it's not, you know, it's hard to do. You understand what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
But if I go 1, 2, see that second that he's there? And also, as I do that, remember that chin, the pulling in and down, right? Talk about getting a hop, pull down. So I'm going 1, and as I step, pull down. So for that 1 second, at least, he's going to have some weight there. Then this foot's going to come So go.
Sorry.
Are you all right?
Oh, that's fine.
So, 1, 2.
He's like, no, it's no.
No, he's like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't. 1, 2. Now, obviously, I can also go like this. 1, 2, and sweep this way. So, 1, 2, and sweep. Or I go 1, 2, and sweep. Or I go 1, 2, sweep. Are you catching my feet doing this? 1, 2. And that's the inside out. So, 1, 2. Look at me, he's like, I don't want to do this.
Oh, okay.
1, 2. Right? So, 1, 2, and this one, and 1, 2, and this one. Now, obviously, if he switches his foot for some reason, right, I can do this one, right, or I can do this one. The whole idea is always get him, walk him a little bit back, so that you find when, yeah, exactly, where the foot steps towards it. And again, he may stutter step, yeah, like that. See how he stutter steps? So another thing is just to do it enough that you start to feel where the weight is. Right? Now, right now I'm pulling him. Sometimes people will help me because they'll be pushing me. If we lock up, I'm going to kind of right until I feel that there's something there. Right, exactly. Well, yeah, if you push in, then it's great because then I can, for example, and then remember, there's the one like jiao, where you just put your foot in the front and pull it forward. Right, and you can put it on this side too. Right, and you can actually use that one against the rear foot. So basically, what I'm going to do is we just want to dance, you know, until you find that he has some weight. But like I said, this is the quote-unquote judo style. I was doing mostly forward and back, right? I was doing like, you know, this way, right? There's also side to side. Because again, I want to make sure that I won't try to mess up his footwork. So, you know, he goes like this, whether he steps, you know, or he stutter steps in, maybe he's good with that. But if I go sideways, right? I remember, as I joke in my kickboxing class all the time, the most basic thing we do, right, go right, right, go right, right, go right. Left, go left, left, go left, left, go left. So what I'm trying to do is catch him as he steps, right? On this side, usually, since I'm going to the right, it's going to be my right. You see what I'm doing? If I go to the left, it's usually going to be my left, so it's going to be 1, 2, I can go to the inside. If he has that leg forward, if you have the other leg forward, right? Outside. And again, if you have the other leg forward the other way, when we were going this way, you see how? What's important is not what leg he has. For me, if I go to the right, I want to sweep with the right. If I go to the left, I want to sweep with the left. And I'm just going to sweep whatever's closest, whatever presents itself. Okay? So, it's what me, that's what's important. If I go to the right, right sweep. If I go to the left, left sweep. Step. Step. So, what I wanted to say about this is if somebody has good footwork and they've trained this, a lot of times you don't feel like you get it, right? Because I'm worried about being swept, and so I'm defending against it. So, you have to do this though so that you get to be that guy who doesn't want to be swept. In other words, the first time I grab you and pull you in directions, you're going to step and let me sweep you. But if you keep playing with this, then it becomes a point where you don't get swept. And this is why, for example, I told you I once looked up with our wrestling coach, we looked up in the NCAA statistics, what throws, you know, what things scored in wrestling. There's got to be a database like this in judo, but I don't know where it is. I have to look for it. But my suspicion would be if you look through a whole bunch of wrestling matches, judo matches on the international level, you would not see a lot of foot sweeps, because these people know what they're doing. But the reason that they know what they're doing is that in the